Hello. Welcome to another edition, another episode of Beyond the Noise, where we try to make sure we get past the rhetoric and all of the cliches, and we like to talk in depth about whatever topic that we go with. And today, before I start introducing people, and before we get into it with our guests, and I got Miss P with me today. I'm super excited to have Miss P with me today. I asked her last week to be on the show, and then she reminded me to remind her what we were talking about. And so I had to make sure I got her squared away. And don't forget that we still have Grace. So she's still in the place all the way live, the round-faced Mexican girl. She's just a little bit off camera today, but she is in the mix. She's going to keep you guys updated on all the notes and all the information. And our guest is running a little bit behind. She had to go save a couple of whales. She had to help a few dogs out of a couple of ditches. And now she is en route. She called a moment ago, so we are all good. But I'm kind of glad she's a little behind because Miss P, there's something that I need to talk to all of my fans about. But more importantly, all of my friends over 40 years old, we're not friends anymore. Something occurred this past week that all of my friends over 40 should have talked to me about. Miss P, so I go to the eye doctor, right?
Okay. Oh, I know where this is
going. You know I'm going with this, right? And I'm supposed to have friends, Miss P.
They didn't tell you about
They didn't tell me. Let me just...
Go ahead.
I was really... Daddy, mama, all of y'all, we got problems today. All of y'all owe me an apology. So I go in there, Miss P, you know. And let me give you some backstory. So I've been looking at, my tablets, and I read a lot. I read, books and whatnot. And I was wondering why my head was hurting, why I had to keep moving my glasses. And I was like, I must be nearsighted. Okay, I get it now. So I'm going to go in the doctor with all this self-revelation of I understand my sight. And I sit down with this young eye doctor. She's very bright, and she's bubbly, and she says, well, you having this? No, I feel good. I think my prescription is the same, and what I think, and I'm think I'm smart. I go, what I think I realize that I'm nearsighted. She just started laughing. She said, how old are you, sir? I said, I'm 41. She said, okay. She said, well, I'm gonna hit you with the B word. I was like, she gonna call me the B word? What I do?
The other one. The other B word.
Now, I've been here for a while, and I know quite a few people around my age, and some people are older, and they all wear glasses.
And some mysteriously wear glasses that never wore glasses.
Right.
And you wonder, oh, okay.
When did you start wearing glasses?
When did you start? And they say, oh, it's a light prescription. They didn't tell you.
Miss P.
They didn't. I know, because it broke my heart when the doctor told me.
She tells me, she said, I'm going to use the B word. I said, what are you talking about? She said, yeah, you're around the age where you're going to need bifocals. She said, but if it makes you feel better, you don't have to stay over 32. No, it don't make me feel better.
No, it doesn't.
But let me tell you what makes me feel worse. I can't wear bifocals. I only wear trifocals. She gave me some lenses that were multifocal. What does that even mean?
See, I'm almost blind in one eye, so I'm sort of like in that same position. But I have astigmatism, so they have to correct my astigmatism.
Man.
Then they have to correct my blindness.
So you are literally blind in one eye, can't see out the other. Well, I don't have astigmatism. I don't have dry eye. And I wear bifoccal contacts. No, I'm sorry. Multifocal contacts.
Well, there's a way around that. My doctor, he kind of tricked my eyes. So he kind of did a near side in one eye and a far side in another eye. And then he said it balances out. In some kind of way, it worked. But my prescription is not the same. Like normally.
Mine is the same.
That's
so fun.
Normally mine is basically the same, and you can tell, okay, I know this eye is -7 and this eye is -2, but on the way he did it, so I didn't have to get the what do they call? They're not called bifocals. What is it?
I don't know what they call. But Miss P, that's not what this is about.
Okay, it's not.
It's about these people that are supposed to be our friends. It's about these people that's supposed to get us squared away. It's about all of these people that's supposed to give us this information, and they don't give us this information. So, Mama, Daddy, and all of my other so-called friends and family over 40 years old, I thank you, and I don't thank you. We supposed to be better than that.
My people people told me. I didn't believe it. I didn't.
Well, then that's your bad.
Yeah, I didn't believe it.
Nobody told me.
They didn't tell you.
And then, but then I'm gonna end it with this.
Mhm.
She said, well, because I guess she's trying to make you feel better. If it makes you feel any better, we don't have to have the glasses with the little, they don't make them with the little lens in the middle
That's
anymore.
what I have.
You didn't know.
Yeah, it's all right.
Oh, I'm gonna embrace it.
You season now.
But let me tell you what I'm gonna do.
What's that?
All of my friends under the age of 40, I need all of you to know, and every one of I talk to, just get ready because you're going to have readers.
Yes.
They're gonna put
Yes.
you in readers.
Yes.
Okay? But enough about that. She's made it. I think it was 7 dogs that she saved. I believe it was 2 whales that she got out of captive, and then it was 2 sea horses and turtles that she saved and put back into the sea. And then she made it onto the show. Let's talk a little bit about our guest today. I'm really excited. Our guest comes to us from a friend of mine, Miss Nika Blunt, the owner and creator of Dirt Food. This young lady has been described as a tiny vegan marketing genius. Okay, and she has a fantastic plant-based publication called Veg World?
Veg World.
Veg
Yes.
World, and I have read through it, and it is outstanding. And she is the editor-in-chief. She's also hands-on with Dirt Food, social media marketing. And today, all of you may think we're talking about a vegan or vegetarian lifestyle. We're going to talk about purpose, and she gave me so much insight about her why and her how and where we're going with this. And not only that, I also know she knows what she's talking about because more than 10,000 people listen to her on Instagram. And she is getting ready to get married to a young man by the name of John Francis McCullough, and he is very lucky. I think he might have outkicked his coverage. Today, we have with us young Courtney Garza. How are you, young lady?
Wonderful. Happy to be here.
I'm happy that you made it.
Yes.
Heard you helped 6 people change 5
There you
tires.
go.
It was so crazy out
Exactly.
there. Okay. So, but let's jump right into it.
Yes.
Okay. You have been a vegan since you're about 13 years old. Okay. From my understanding. So let's go right into why. And both, I want you to let it fly. Tell us.
For sure. Yeah, so I wish I could say I was fully vegan when I was 13, but no, that's when it kind of, what's the word? The epiphany kind of happened. The trigger, the light was switched on for me just because I always loved animals. Always, cats, dogs, we would always save them from the side of the road, or I had a pet chicken, a pet goose, even a horse, a pet turtle, you name it. And so I always made the connection that animals were my friends. And so we were driving to Fort Worth one day because a lot of my family lives out in Burleson, if you're familiar with that area.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of cow pastures and fields out there with the grazing cows. And so I just saw a cow and I thought, oh, it's so cute. I just want to hug him. And that's literally all I thought. No one said anything to me. No one talked to me. I didn't watch a documentary. I didn't read anything. I just thought, wait, why do I want to hug that cow, but then go put it between 2 buns at McDonald's? Because we used to go to McDonald's at least once a week. My grandma would pick me up from middle school, and we'd go and get a McDonald's double meat and cheeseburger every Friday.
Right.
And that was just the norm. No big deal. I didn't put 2 and 2 together that was a cow. The same cow that was grazing on the pasture that I saw, I was eating. And then it hit me too, why would I want to hug this cow and also hug my dog? Wait, I wouldn't put my dog between 2 buns. That's messed up.
Because your dog has a name.
Right. And and I cuddle with it,
Yeah.
and it's different. It's not out there far away from me.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of hit me, I can't eat cows anymore. I can't eat meat anymore. I'm sorry, Grandma, I'm sorry, Mom, I just can't eat burgers. And so that's where it started. I didn't go full, as we say, cold tofu in one night. I wish I could say I was. That'd be awesome. But I wasn't buying my own food. My parents obviously were feeding me, and they bought the groceries, and I lived under their household. So I just kind of slowly but surely asked, hey, can I get no meat? Can I just have the sides, or can I just have the veggies? And then it was like, okay, let's get rid of red meat, and then let's get rid of pork and chicken and turkey, and it was kind of like just eliminating things as the years went on. So it wasn't like this full-on overnight thing. It wasn't really until I went to college that I was able to make that decision to make the full, okay, no dairy either, and no fish. Like I held on to fish for a long time. So a lot of people come to me and say, "Oh, I just don't think I could give everything up." I'm like, no one's asking you to.
Right. That's where I wanted to go.
No one's asking you to. Yeah.
Because what you're talking about makes so much sense to me. You stopped eating meat because it was life.
It just hit me.
Yeah, it wasn't something that you talked into or something you wanted to try, something you wanted to go from this. Because I thought about it, and I said when was it last year, Grace? So 2019, I said I'm gonna ease into vegetarianism to vegan because I wanted to see. Now I've done things like I've eaten like vegan for 30 to 40 days.
Nice.
But coming out of that was it was interesting.
I can't imagine.
But my purpose was nothing like your purpose. Because I've been thinking about what you told me the other day, just that story alone, and I was going, I wouldn't eat my dog simply because my dog has a name, and I like my dog.
Yeah.
But, and then in some cultures or some religions, like some animals are sacred, like cows. But to us, we think that's weird. What was it in you that made you go, you know what, I might want to move away from that? And how difficult, because you made the transition, you put it in layers.
Yeah.
But how difficult was it not to not eat meat, but to find things to eat? Because now it's popular, it's cool, and now it's all argumentative, and now
much
it's
easier
ways
nowadays.
to eat. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't like that when you're a kid, because you eat what people put on your plate.
Yeah.
And I know in my household, you better eat what's on that plate.
Exactly, for sure.
So
and my family's actually very Southern too. So I mean, we because most of my family grew up in Alabama, so they're like Southern.
So soul food.
Southern, yes, like
Tell them what it is. They backwoods country like me.
Yeah, shrimp and grits
Yeah.
and butter on everything. And so obviously, yes, it was very hard. First of all, to give up dairy because again, butter on everything and milk and everything. And so I guess I just asked for the sides. I just kind of became side girl, you know, like, in a way. It's like Courtney's not gonna eat the meat, okay, she's just gonna eat the sides, give her extra broccoli, whatever it is. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, I was still eating chicken and, poultry, I guess, basically. Like, I would have turkey at Thanksgiving, but if there were any, like, ham involved or any just steak or burgers, everyone in my family kind of knew, okay, she's not going to eat that. So I just really, especially in family style food, which is really how we ate most of the time, is everything has its own big container and you just get a ladle and put it on your plate.
Yep.
I just went for the sides. I mean, as easy as that is, yes, a lot of the sides had butter in it and sometimes even like bacon bits because that's how you eat green beans, you know, when it's Southern, you know. So I just would pick around the bacon if there was in it, or if there was butter, I guess I would eat that. I didn't really make the connection to dairy really until I went to college. So I was still eating a lot of dairy. I loved yogurt and ice cream, of course. But then once I got out of that and able to make my own, decisions for buying groceries or just doing more research, obviously as it became more readily available, I saw the benefits of cutting out dairy and the benefits of making switches to coconut milk or almond milk or whatever it is. And it's so funny, I always tell people this too, I was pretty lazy when it comes to cooking or just being a vegan in general. I either ate out or I would just, my go-to meal was hummus and vegetables.
You're right. That was a snack.
Easy. That was a snack and it was a meal too.
Yeah.
It was just everything. I was like, raw veggies and hummus. I don't have to do anything. Just get it out of the refrigerator. But I do tell people I was very lucky. I went to the University of North Texas in Denton, and a lot of people don't know this, they have a all vegan cafeteria.
Really?
100%. It's amazing.
I went there.
Wow.
It's so great. And you can go there as a non-student, which is pretty cool. It's $7.50 for a full-on vegan buffet. You can go and pay that. You don't have to be a student. It's great. I go often.
Well, I'm from the country. Every meal comes with meat.
Yeah.
Like breakfast, lunch, and
That's
dinner.
your main.
Like macaroni and cheese had to have it's
For
something,
sure.
and mac and cheese.
Right.
Like it's,
Yeah.
So for me, it wouldn't be. I guess what I'm asking is, how did you? It was a feeling. How did you feel? It wasn't something like, man, you know what? I'm gonna try this vegan thing. It was like, I don't want to eat life.
I felt guilty.
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I felt, obviously, those cows might not have had a name, like our dogs or cats.
No, they didn't
but they
have
had
the name you gave.
Right. Yeah, but they had a life, they had a soul, they had friends, they had babies, they had mothers, they had fathers. I mean, they definitely feel and think, and we just don't, as a society, because we're taught to think this way, we just glaze over that. We're like, oh no, they're not the same as our cats and dogs that obviously show that they have thoughts and feelings, and they care for humans as we care for them. And so it just hit me like a ton of bricks, yeah, just seeing those cows and looking into their eyes, that they had a soul.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be a part of taking that away from them just for, what, taste buds? Just because it was tasty, you know?
Yeah.
This just seemed messed up.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing from you is that animals have a purpose,
Yeah,
and their purpose is something other than food for us.
right.
So what is their purpose?
And I love this question, because oftentimes, you know, I'll get the retort of, okay, say that we just close down all the factory farms and let the animals graze. Aren't you afraid that they're going to take over? I'm like, first of all, why would they take over? You know, what is their passion in taking over the world? No, I just think, as any animals in the rainforest, for example, let them just be. I mean, it doesn't mean that they have to be more than we are and they have to have more space or whatever. If anything, they take up more space now because we're overproducing them. We are literally creating way too many cows, way too many chickens and pigs for consumption. So if we just let them naturally procreate instead of inseminating them to create more so we can, you know, eat them,
Consume
whatnot, then it will balance out, just as nature always balances out.
The natural life cycle.
Right, they're just natural life cycle. Just let them be, just as wild horses are, and, you know, birds in the sky. I mean, it's just let them be their natural just creature and being, and if they choose to have babies, great, but it's not like this conveyor belt of a lifestyle. And if anything, I think that we're the ones making it more difficult by you know, setting up these factory farm settings. And I think if we just, I know it's not a total like reasonable thing to just say, oh yeah, just shut down all the factory farms. That's a process. There's business, there's politics, there's finances, of course. Like I'm a business person too.
You know, we know how that goes.
I get it. I'm not saying I hope the best for all you people that worked at factory farms. Like, no, you have families to feed yourself. I get it. But if there's a way that we can turn those factory farms into producing something that's beneficial for everyone, our bodies and the world, like, you know, grains, seeds, oats, whatever it is, then everyone would benefit.
I agree, but I have to say that there are also, on the other side of that coin, is, you know, meat protein in some animals is absolutely good for you. And then, you know, we are hunters and gatherers. Now, we aren't. Now, in today's society, we're overproducers, overconsumers. But, you know, people have to have a way of life. I mean, no farmer is going to listen. Like, if a person who raises chickens and then feeds people chicken, it's hard. I wouldn't, that concept makes sense. However, I would rather feed my son or my daughter. So I guess what I'm saying is, as an advocate, are you just excited about your own purpose and then allow people to attach to it, or are you, you know, power to the vegan people, everybody should be this, that, and the other? Like, what is your stance on other people's stance on the way their lifestyle, the way they eat?
Yeah, I think everyone has their own journey. And I am never going to be the person that is going to wave a finger in their face saying, you're doing it wrong, because that's human nature. Nobody wants to be told they're doing it wrong. You know, so I'm not going to sit here and say, your way is wrong, I'm right, the end. No, I think do your research, watch documentaries that are chock full of you actually gave me a good example when you talked about the chicken farmers. There's a documentary called Eating Animals, and Natalie Portman actually voices the whole thing. And it's really fascinating because there's a chicken farmer he's like a third generation chicken farmer who's been doing it for such a long time because his father did it and so on and so forth. And he was excited to pass that on to his kids. Now then, he found that with the new regulations of the certain type of chicken feed, a lot of the chickens were dying in his chicken farm. And so he was doing more research and digging into it. And basically, especially nowadays, most of the chicken meat that they're producing is so, what's the word? I'm not a sciencey person, but they're basically full of chemicals.
Yeah,
Hormones,
you're
yeah.
basically eating a food-like product.
Yeah.
It's not, and
Yeah.
I've had full conversations. I've
Right.
actually done.
Preservatives and stuff.
I mean, I've
It's
done
terrible.
full teachings on food versus food-like products. So,
Yeah.
and that's why this is so interesting to me
Yeah.
because not all things that may seem to be vegetables are good for you, and not all
Right.
things in the store that are processed are good for you. But
Right.
your purpose is well beyond the rhetoric that I'm so used to seeing and hearing, and you saw a life,
Yeah.
and it changed your thought process, and that brought you into a purposeful lifestyle, which brought you to people who are actually listening to what you
Right.
got to say, because you're not screaming to the high heavens, death to
No.
all carnivores.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I eat meat, and I like chicken, and I cook chicken, and I eat steak, but I get what you're saying,
Right.
because if I'm going to make a change, it has to be for a real purpose, not
Yes.
for a challenge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that's so important. So with that being said, we're here with Miss Courtney Garza, who has been described as a tiny vegan marketing genius. So talk to me about how all these people started listening to your story and became interested and involved nationally through this social media channel.
Yeah.
And before you do, tell people of what this channel is and where they can find you. And let's
Yes.
not wait to the end because they might want to look now.
Hey, perfect, because Veg World, and I brought some of our past issues, talking about health and wellness, talking about vegan fashion, and also, just renewing your body. This was our renewal issue. So kind of give you some examples, but it's a free publication, vegworldmagazine.com. Or even vegworldmag.com, and obviously we're all
That's
over
what I
social
looked up.
media.
Yeah.
We're all over everything. We're about to start a YouTube channel. Pretty excited about that, to do like cooking videos and product reviews. Hey, we might even get dirt food on there, some
Why not?
product reviews. But yeah, it's exciting because obviously, so my background, just a little bit of the businessy side, I have a degree in strategic communications, which is a fancy way of saying advertising.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's that mean?
It's so funny. And when we got our diplomas, I kid you not, everyone's just like, why does it say this? It's just a
Yeah.
fancy way of saying advertising.
Yeah.
And it's funny, fun fact, since I've graduated, University of North Texas has changed it to advertising. I'm like, why didn't you do that when I was there? Now I have to talk about it. And we even like abbreviated
I
it to
bet
call
they
it
had a 2-hour
StratCom.
meeting on
Yeah.
that.
Like, thanks guys.
Can you reprint my diploma?
Yeah, excuse me, can we go back? It was like a year after too. I was like, perfect timing. But yeah, so strategic communications with a minor in marketing, and so it's because I'm so passionate about telling stories and like really diving deep on like the details, the research, the backstory. I want to know it all so I can best digest it and communicate it
Articulate, yeah.
to the masses. And so it's only fitting that I'm doing something that, one, I love to tell stories, and two, I love living a vegan lifestyle. Best of both worlds. And so being the editor-in-chief of this is so important to me because also, what we just hit on earlier, I'm never about waving my finger in someone's face and say you're doing it wrong. Like, I don't think you're living the wrong way. I just think there's a better way,
Yeah,
or you could
absolutely.
try out, different methods, and you might just find that you feel better, and that's awesome.
You know what? You're absolutely right, and I want you to weigh in on this because my people, you know what I'm saying, and I'm talking about, and I'm not talking about black people. I'm talking about my people, the Walls clan and the Langhams. We have a hard time adjusting or changing anything
Of course.
without an aggressive purpose.
There
You know
you
what I'm
go.
saying? So if I walked in and told my dad like, "Hey man, I'm gonna stop eating meat because I don't want to eat," a soul, he's gonna be like, "Well, you have fun, but I'm gonna eat this burger." I'm not gonna eat this dog, but I'm gonna eat this burger because
Right.
there is a difference, a mental gap.
sure.
When you've been eating burgers your whole life.
Yeah.
The only reason I stopped eating at McDonald's is because I just stopped. It didn't smell like food anymore.
Right.
And then after I stopped about a year and I went back in there, I was like, it smells like dirty mop water.
Right.
I can't eat in here. That was it. It had nothing to do with, oh my God, they're doing this that, and the other. But
Yeah.
as a young person, you have a value of compassion and go, you know what? They're more than what I, take advantage of on my part.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you, as you were growing older into adulthood, and then you had to increase calories, and it's
Right.
hard to find places to, because like we just talked about, this just became the new trend
Yeah.
of all vegan or vegetarian spots. How hard was it to even get enough calories when you were in college?
Yeah, and that's what's kind of cool is I always tell people I did not stop eating meat because it didn't taste good. Of course, I loved it all. You know, I mean, it was our family reunion, like tradition to go to get all like a barbecue buffet once a month.
Yeah.
I love barbecue.
Like pizza on Friday nights at all.
Love it. Yes,
Right.
you know, like please bring it on. I want all the cheesy, you know, the creamy, the ice cream, the meat, the spices, everything. I used to love those little like smoky sausages at the barbecue places. So good. The little
With just
smokies,
enough
like
that
the
stuff
little
that
ones.
look like
Yes.
barbecue sauce on it.
Yeah.
So good. They're so good.
Yes, indeed.
And yeah, so it's never about like, oh, I just didn't like it. Like,
Right.
no, oh my God, I ate it all the time, every day. So it's not that. Again, it was the connection. Like, I'm a foodie through and through, still am. It was the connection. It was the resonance, the feeling in my gut and my soul that I, you know, can still have amazing food. It's all about seasoning. It's all about flavoring, but I can also save these lives.
That makes sense.
The best of both worlds. Again, I really am about living the best of both worlds, and I feel
Finding
like
a happy medium.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a lot of people found the word compromise. I think it's a great way to live. It's just like, why can't everyone win? You know, I
Yeah.
want a
Right.
mutually beneficial relationship here.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm too positive for my own good, but I really believe there's a way to make it all, you know, symbiotic.
Is it working for you?
Yeah,
Then it works.
there you go.
I have to respect you. I mean, because you have a purpose,
Yes.
and you're not throwing your purpose down everyone's throat. You say it's your choice,
For sure.
and then you say, well, I want you to research it, and you have to
Absolutely.
find your own purpose as to why you're doing what you're doing.
There you go.
Found your why,
Yeah.
and that helped because that would make me think, well, why am I doing this? Well,
All the time.
why would that benefit me? And then it would help me to think deeper and start researching and looking into something. Because I've had people cram it down my throat.
Yeah.
The more they cram,
The less I want to do.
the more I ate meat.
That's with
Mhm.
anything. That's
The
with
more-
religion. That's
Yes,
with politics.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
with anything.
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Nobody wants that. Get out of my face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I respect you highly on that because now I'm thinking, well, what is up with this? What's going
Yeah.
on? You know,
Yeah.
and it makes me want to look into everything else as far as I may not go full fledged into
Sure.
it.
I didn't.
You know, but at steps because
Yeah.
I've tried to go meatless. And it didn't work because, as I listened to you, because I didn't have a purpose for it.
That's it. Everybody's that way.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a step back and say, think about how we were introduced to meat and vegetables. Meat
Yeah.
was the base of the meal. That's and veggies are, if you eat these, you either won't get in trouble or you'll get a reward. Like really,
True.
like each vegetable, you better eat them carrots,
Yes.
or else you're gonna be at the table all night long.
Right.
So
Right.
now, just because I'm gonna be at the table all night long, I'm
Yep.
gonna be at the table all night long.
Right.
So it's the introduction of the food, and then it's the way it's presented,
Right.
and then it's the reward. So it's
Right.
hard to reverse those things. That's why
For sure.
I'm enamored by the fact that you didn't see food,
No.
you saw beings.
Yeah.
And not everybody has that purpose. So that leads me to ask, you got 10,000 people listening to what you're saying. What kind of questions are they asking, or what kind of advice are they looking for, or how many people even have that kind of stick-to-itiveness
Yeah.
to keep rocking in that direction?
It's funny because I oftentimes get a lot of people going into it for health, which is awesome. You know, I mean, there's no doubt there's tons of health benefits. I mean, even, you know, the owner of Dirt Food, she had problems with cancer.
Yep.
I mean, there's tons of people coming from their perspective, whether it be an actual ailment, like an illness, or they just want to lose weight, or they want to get more energy, or, you know, whatever it is, just incorporate more fruits and vegetables into their diet. I get that question all the time
Okay.
from health. Because I feel like the people that are coming it from ethics, they're not really asking questions. They already got their why, you know?
Well, part of that is, they might not necessarily have their why, but they may have their what's it called whenever, not ritual or not rhetoric, but when somebody it's
Routine.
no, it's like if you're reading your Bible, you're going to church all the time. It's like it's something that you do. So, for example, like some people don't eat pig because in the Bible it stated don't eat any unclean
swine.
thing.
Yeah.
But they think that's a religious thing. Well, I did some research on that. Part of that is literally you are what you eat. And one of
Right.
the filthiest animals on
Is
the
the
planet
pig.
is the pig. They root in garbage.
Mhm.
So that's the reason it is unclean, because when you put it in your body, whatever is in its body is going into your body.
Exactly.
And it becomes, or you become it.
Yeah.
So that was the thing about that animal, but then they made it about, the Jews didn't eat this, or these people didn't eat this, or Christians didn't. No, that's not what it's about. It was a real simple scientific education answer that was put in a spiritual book that people made religious. And if you don't like what I'm saying, go look it up. But that's why in the Garden of Eden there were fruits and vegetables.
That's it.
Another reason for that is our teeth aren't designed to tear flesh.
No, neither is our intestines, our gallbladder.
Right. So all we do is adapt so we don't die. Like the human body is an amazing scientific experiment. But with that being said, if we all sat back and understood that, we would come from a place of understanding, not from a place of rhetoric, or a religious stance that can be flipped depending on what religion you believe. Because, like you said, a being is a being.
Yeah.
So that's what's important. So I'm wondering what kind of flack or kickback do you get?
I guess I don't get a ton because I'm never kind of sitting on a pedestal saying, hey, I'm the know-all be-all, I think more people that come at the vegan lifestyle saying, this is the only way and you must follow it and otherwise you're going to die. It's like, they're going to get more flack because everyone's like, who are you? Where's your degree or what's your background? What's going on here? I always like to show it off as, here is my colorful life. I'm thriving, I'm glowing, I'm happy, I'm positive, and I attribute it, yes, to my just nature, but also to the foods I'm eating and just the way that I perceive food and the way that I perceive every creature, both human and furry, So I just think that helps. When people come to my page, they think, okay, I'm taking a look into her perspective here, and she is just showing off how well this lifestyle is working for her. And if I want a piece of that, or I want to know more about how I can adapt that to my life, then I'm going to ask her questions, or I'm going to follow her, or I'm going to read what she posts today. And I think that's what helps me not get so much flack. Obviously we see lots of things on the Veg World page when people are wondering about these big, bans on wet markets that are happening a lot lately, or shutting down factory farms. Like we just got out an article today, and some people are like, "Oh, how can you do that? Because there's jobs on the line, or there's all these extremist, factors." But that's the only flack we get. But if anything, people, especially our tuned in like vegan audience, they're excited about those things. So I feel like. Honestly, I can't think of like a negative review that I've gotten in a while. I think it's just because
you're being honest and transparent.
Well, it's the marketing too. I think it's just like, hey, we're very upfront with, this is us. This is what works for us. If you don't want to be a part of this, or you don't want to subscribe to this, then simply go somewhere else. And that's your decision. We're not pushing anything down anyone's throats. We're just saying, if you're interested, we're here.
You said in a while, did you change something in your marketing, or change something so that you could receive more positive input? Was it how you presented, or was it just the information you were given?
Maybe it was just how we presented it. I recently took over Veg World back in September, but I've been working with the company since 2015. So I've been with them as a writer / marketing person since then, but I officially took over just recently. So things have changed. If anything, I don't talk about celebrities as much. I mean, there are amazing vegan celebrities, but if you try to put someone as like the pedestal as veganism, I think it has a tendency to fail, because let's be honest, humans are human and they mess up, and that's okay. I mean, I don't want to put anyone as like, here's our golden boy and no one can touch them because they're vegan. No, it's like I never want to put me as the face of veganism, because I'm bound to mess up in one way or another. And that's why I think it's so important in your messaging to be very communicative. This is what works for me, and I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, and you guys are welcome to follow along my journey and see how it fades, kind of turns out for me, and then you can apply it if you want to, or we can do it together. and that's it. You know, I just feel like the more high and mighty you are with your messaging, the more you're attracting the negative talk.
So you keep it personally real and applicable.
Yeah.
People can follow.
Yeah.
We are here with Miss Courtney Garza, who has been described as the tiny vegan marketing genius, and she is the editor-in-chief at Veg World. Great. So, what are the people asking online? If they ain't asking questions, they better not come in there asking me no questions, because I got somebody who has answers to these questions.
Actually, somebody asked, or Eric asked, is it better that almost all the meat in my freezer was harvested by me, or is that worse?
It's so,
That is
a great question. Yeah, for sure. And I get this a lot too, because that question comes up with eggs too. Like if you have like chickens in your backyard and they happen to be laying eggs. So I feel like as far as sustainability goes, that is a better track than you know, buying into factory farming, because I think there's such a cognitive dissonance when it comes to buying the meat at the grocery store. You're like, out of sight, out of mind. I wasn't a part of killing it, so I don't know. I'm just here to buy this for my you know, meal that I'm making tonight. But when you're, I guess, a hunter, or you know, whatever his position is with these animals, then I guess you kind of have more control, if that makes sense. Because with factory farming, there's so much negative that goes into it. Other than the chemicals, it's just the treatment of these animals are so awful. Mass produced, you know, they just, from start to finish, their life is just awful.
It's terrible.
But with these animals, I would imagine that he might have gotten them in a forest, or they were grazing, or I don't know what it is. So I would hope, as far as you know, the animal's life goes, they had a better breathability. They were able to run free and live their life, and you know, actually be in nature like they're meant to be. So in that regard, I appreciate that. And like you said, it makes for a better meal, because you said it earlier too, we are what we eat. So if we're eating fear and just, you know, just these animals are terrified, living in cages their whole lives,
chemical imbalance, squeezed
unnaturally inseminated. I mean, just like terrible. We're eating that. They die with those emotions, with those ingrained, you know, feelings. I mean, they have tense muscles all the time, and we're eating that. So I imagine with these animals, since they were able to be free and graze around, that's altogether a better situation. Do I ever want to do that? No. Because again, I don't want to see them die. Obviously, naturally, such as with a lion grazing on a gazelle, they're going to die somehow. I get it. But I just don't want to be a part of that. So in a way, yes, that is better. I still don't believe we're meant to eat meat. Just with the science and the kind of medical physicians that are showing that our bodies function better without meat and dairy. But the easy answer, yes, I think that is better than giving your money to these really crazy factory farms.
I want to make it clear that, you know, I know a lot of people understand what you're saying, but some people would want to go and say, well, all animals are going to die. Yeah, the end of the life cycle is death. Right? We know that. However, you don't have to be the cause or the reason of that. And you don't have to be the beneficiary of the tragedy of something. Now, I'm not a hypocrite. You make me a good burger, I don't know where it came from, but I know when I bite into it, it's like, Lord, have mercy, this thing is phenomenal. So I want to take a different approach. You got any other questions? Or?
Well, I put a question as she was telling her vegan story and why. Jasmine put, I asked why they became vegan. She said for several years, 1 month of the year, I would eat a vegan diet. I always felt so good, but then I'd fall back into normal habits. I started that practice because of the amount of illness and premature death in our family. I wanted to avoid that fate. Once I moved to China, I made the shift completely and haven't looked back.
Nice.
My reason started off as personal, but it's just as much personal health as it is my care for other living beings and the environment.
That's awesome.
That's my baby sister. And Mama, if you're not listening, I'm gonna have to call you. Don't text me during the show, Mama. I mean, come on, Mama, I love you. Got my phone over there, then. Now we're gonna switch it up a little bit.
I was also vegan in China, by the way, and it wasn't hard. It was actually pretty easy.
Really?
So that's awesome.
How do you, somebody like me, right, very active, work out 3-4 times a week, a lot of protein, and a lot of meat protein. How would I make a transition into keeping, and I'm asking this for anybody online who can answer it, as we talk through this, how do you make that transition without that lull or that shock to your system? Because any food transition you make, I know it's going to, your body goes, whoa, this is ridiculous, what's going on? It could be great for you, it could be bad for you, whatever it is. How do you lighten the shock of that transition so you can continue into a healthy active, it might not be a healthy eating, but a healthy active lifestyle without losing that space or finding that gap or atrophying or getting sick? Because a lot of people make that transition and they don't get enough nutrients, or they're not drinking enough water, and they're realizing, I'm eating right, but you might not be eating enough, or you might have just jumped into it. How do you talk people into that? I'm in a healthy lifestyle, I want to switch diets and not lose on the way.
It's really cool. I love telling people this. Again, I've always been a foodie. So once I realized that the vegan diet, I could eat more, I was super excited. I was like, yes, more food. It was great. It's exciting. So the first thing I kind of suggest everybody watch is Game Changers. It's free on Netflix. It's amazing, especially for vegan bodybuilders, vegan athletes.
It's called Game Changers?
Game Changers.
I passed by like 17 times and
I've
never.
And it's funny. It's not like one of those documentaries that's like doom and gloom and like, here's the facts and you're gonna die at the end. That's honestly, every time I watch a documentary, and when people recommend documentaries to me, I'm like, I'll pass, because they're all like, I sit there like, what do I do now? I'm just gonna die? That's cool. Like, thanks for telling me about all the awful things that's going on in the world. And then I'm just sitting there like, all right, well, I'm depressed. Well, no, this one's fun. It's engaging. There are people Arnold Schwarzenegger's in there. He talks about how he made the transition to be vegan. Who else? Just crazy bodybuilders, both women and men, which is fascinating. And so I think it's cool because it's not just like, again, facts. It's like humor and, all walks of life, all cultures. It's really cool. And there's a boxer, there's like an Olympian. It's amazing. So I tell people to watch that because they talk about how to transition, supplements, or just pure fruits and veggies. How to look your best, feel your best, and perform your best.
Because that's always been my thing, is the transition. It's not because I can do it for 30 days, 40 days, but I do it with the thought in mind to go back. And then also when we talk about these people, I need everybody to know I am a professional in fitness and sports performance. So when I say this, call me on it. Weightlifting is not about weight loss, and changing your food is not always about weight loss, because it's about strength, body composition, change, conditioning, all of those things. But many of us want to go from this to that. And that, and that's why. So I guess Game Changers will give us some answers on how not to go from stop to go to stop.
They hit on all of it. It's so helpful. And for me, and I'm glad you hit on that point too, because I didn't go into this for health. I already told you my why.
That's so powerful.
If anything, it was kind of like the cherry on top that it's so healthy. Like I felt better, had more energy. I will, kind of preface this because honestly I do get this question a lot. I always joke and say it's witchcraft. But everyone says, how do you eat all this food and stay so thin? I'm like, witchcraft. Well, I conjured the spell. No, my whole family has been thin my whole life. Like, you see anyone in our family, they call them beanpole women. They're just, everyone's skinny. It's genetics. I'll just put that out there. I've always been thin, back, even before I was vegan. So my whole family ate a lot of fast food, a lot of, again, butter and stuff, and lots of very southern comfort food. But you would never tell that they ate that way. So I will put that out there and preface that first and foremost. But I am the only one in my family, besides my dad, that went to got a football scholarship to school and everything, that was even interested in fitness. Again, they had no desire to be fit. They had no desire to gain muscle. If anything, my grandmother thinks that if you go to the gym, you're going to be bulky and gross. And I'm like,
all you women that are listening,
no.
You don't have to worry about getting bulky.
It's a common misconception.
Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is testosterone makes you bulky, not weightlifting. So
And so no, I weight lift. Me and my fiance, he's actually really into kung fu, so he's been teaching me,
Really?
jujitsu and just kind of like moves in that regard too. And he has the same genes as I do. We're both just naturally thin, and so it's actually very hard for me to put on weight and muscle. So that's just kind of how it's always been. But on a vegan diet, I've seen more muscle than I've ever had in my entire life. And I was eating all the meat. I was eating all the things because one, I'm eating more now, which is awesome. But I do take supplements. I do take, protein powders or protein bars. I can have one in my purse right now. But I focus on my, macronutrients. My beans, my legumes. Obviously, I eat tofu. I eat, meat alternatives. I had some vegan chicken the other day. I mean, there's just so many different things that you can use to supplement to get that protein source. And if anything, I feel like I'm focused on it more. Like I track my macros, I track my calories, because I'm interested in, having a optimal machine here. I'm not looking to lose weight. I never have. It's always been about the animals for me. But I am super intrigued about, seeing my body perform to its optimal level for running or for swimming. I used to be a competitive swimmer. Or just lifting weights or just living my life. It's nice to have that feeling, especially on a vegan diet. I feel like I'm always just thriving. If anything, I have way too much energy for my own good.
Right.
I joke and say I should really sleep more, but it's very hard.
I get that.
Just because I got it, yeah. So I think that if that helps at all, I with a vegan diet, I'm more tuned into my nutrition than ever.
It helps tremendously, but I'm going to ask the question, and I'm sitting here just thinking about it. Why do you eat? No, why do you eat?
Me.
Yeah.
It's hard. Honestly, it's funny. I joke around with my fiance about this all the time, and I'm like, please tell me if I'm ever annoying. But I know I literally think about food all the time, especially
really?
because with my job, I do social media for a living. I have a vegan social media agency, and so we take beautiful pictures of products. We make recipes all the time. We do video. We do video kind of recaps. We go to foodie events where they're tasting and sampling. I love food.
But you love to eat.
I love to eat.
I eat because I have to.
I love it. Okay, see, that's my
That's what I'm
fiance's
saying. Like,
perspective.
I eat because I have to. So
Yes.
for me, it's not a comfort
That's
thing.
funny.
It's like if people were like, you don't ever have to eat, I probably wouldn't, unless it was
I
ice
would be
cream.
so sad.
But I mean, I'm saying that to say that it's really our purpose. Like many of us, we excuse our way into a lifestyle we don't like because we feel like this is what we're supposed to do. Not what we have to do, but what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And for you, what you were supposed to do was regard life as life.
Right.
And I think that's so powerful. Other people's purpose is, like Jasmine's, tired of seeing people disappear under their own misunderstandings.
Yeah.
And then we regard it as that's just what happens. No, we can adjust and avoid a lot of that stuff.
Absolutely.
But then you have people who, whatever they go after a million miles an hour. So you can have, I call them from Saul to Paul. You got people who out there snapping the neck of an animal and reaching in and eating his heart. And then it's like, you better not eat that animal, and they just eat carrots. So I mean, how did you make that? It sits with you well because of your purpose.
Yeah.
How do you continue to live that and give that without pushing that? Because evidently people are listening to it.
I think it's my energy, honestly, and I don't.
What does that
I know.
What does that mean?
So I
Most
get
people
this.
don't even understand. Most people don't understand that you're either giving people your energy or people are trying to vampire you.
Oh my gosh, I've met a lot of those.
Yeah, there's some bloodsuckers out there.
Yes, no, but I get that a lot. It's funny. I was always really intrigued by this when I was a kid too. Everyone's just like, I just love your energy. I'm like, okay, what? I'm like, I'm not doing anything. It's nothing I'm intentionally setting out to do. Like I'm gonna surprise them with this fun fact. No, it's just I guess I'm just so excited about life. I always joke and say I'm way too excited about a lot of things. I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Everyone's like, it's not that great. I'm like, I think it's great. But I just get really, again, too much energy for my own good. But no, with food, I think it's just the way I present it. Like again, on my social media platform, I'm doing a fun cooking video. I'm getting up in the morning and I'm, so excited to try out this new recipe or try this new food or show how colorful. Like this other day, I found this amazing purple potato. It was so bright and beautiful. It looked just like my hair. It was great. And I didn't do anything to it. It was just naturally purple. And I was like, guys, look at this. And I was just like opening up the potato. And I was like, look how purple it is. And I think people just are excited about that.
Yeah.
They're just like, okay, she's onto something, you
They're
know, like.
excited about your
Yeah.
excitement.
Yeah, and so they're like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna tune in, even if I'm not vegan, I want to
Right.
see what
Right.
she has to say about this, or
Which-
how is she gonna make it
Because
fun.
That's where I was going.
I'm sitting here saying, it is your excitement, and being a foodie.
Yeah.
Because
oh my gosh.
most people think I have to give up
No.
meat, and then I have to give up this, and I have to give up that. And by you explaining and saying, I love to eat, I love food, I love this, I love that. It's like, well, I don't have to give up. I can still enjoy,
Love
and
it.
it's still good. And that's what's attracting me and pulling me. Now I can't guarantee I would go full vegan,
That's okay.
but it's making me curious.
Yeah.
And it's because I keep looking, I'm like, well, I don't want to just pull it over here and see what's in the book.
Yes.
But it's making me say, okay, let me at least see what they're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I
but
try to make
you're
it
excited.
as simple and
Mhm.
easy as possible. I'm not going to be like, and now you have to go to the Himalayas to get this, crazy,
Salt.
leaf
Yeah.
off of
Yeah,
the,
exactly.
off of the vine, at the
Yeah.
top of the vine.
Right.
No, like how do you use it? Like I show how to
Boiled
use cornstarch and things
Things
that
that are
baking stuff,
accessible.
where things you probably already have in your pantry.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
And just making, again, like I don't even think I started cooking until I was like 23. I'm 27. So yeah, it's not like I've been cooking for years. Like no, I mean forever. No, if anything, it's a very new thing, and I'm still learning. I still come to my fiance. I'm like, it's burnt, but it's good. So it's fine. It's fine. I think that's the fun thing is to get on people's level. I never want to
Right.
come off and say, I'm an expert, so good luck with this.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna say, I'm trying this out. You can try it with me. Here's how I made it. I'm super simple, easy.
You're approachable.
And just making it fun too.
Yes,
Like let's
yes.
all go on this journey together.
So you got somebody that's tiptoeing on the edge of the water. They see everybody diving in.
Yeah.
How do you get? What advice would you give to somebody who's just trying to see what it's about? Because I like all my vegetables raw.
Nice. Yeah. Like I
spinach,
said.
I like spinach, carrots, cucumber.
Yep.
Baby
So
tomatoes,
good.
spinach, carrots, cucumbers, and I'll eat the same food 75 days in a row. So I'm like, for me, I eat literally because I have to.
Oh my gosh, you are just like my fiance. I was sometimes just like, how are you eating so simple? Like I can't get it. I'm like, no, I need the spice and the hot sauce and all the things. I'm just like, no.
So how do you encourage that person who may want to lose those 5, 10, 20
Yeah.
pounds, or who may just want to feel different or feel better, or how do you get them to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna just try this without that feeling of anxiety of having to get rid of this and do it like this, and hey, this is how you go vegan.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give kind of like a 1-2 punch answer, because a lot of times I get people asking, isn't going vegan more expensive? And I say it can be, but it also depends on what you're buying. So what I intrigue people to do, I want to inspire, is to, first of all, obviously I'm obsessed with purple, I love it. Pick your favorite color, go to your farmer's market or grocery store, and then look for, natural fruits and veggies that are that color. For me, I'm like, oh, eggplants, or purple cabbage, or purple potatoes, or, whatever. It's like, don't go to the packaged goods. Go to the fresh veggies. It doesn't have to be organic. I mean, obviously, I know it's more expensive. It would be awesome if you ate organic, but if you're in a financial situation, do what you can. But if you can go to that part of the grocery store and pick up, some reds, maybe you want to get some tomatoes or apples or something, start there. I mean, that's an easy switch.
I did a study, and then I did it myself, and I actually saved $76, not buying meat, not eating. Like I just did the math on it, and
It's awesome.
it actually is much cheaper
Yes.
to eat fruit and vegetables
And it's
drink
cheaper in
water.
the medical sense too.
It's I
You're
say it all
not
the
spending
time.
that
It's cheaper
money.
than a doctor. It's cheaper than a
Yes.
doctor. I say it all the time. But the truth is, it doesn't. It costs way more. You can go get a bag of carrots, a bag of spinach, and a bag of apples for $14.73.
It's awesome.
You
Is
can
that
go.
nice tax?
That's everything. You can go
Yeah,
to Chick-fil-A, go get a number 6 and a number 4, and you're gonna spend $12. And that's
Yes.
one meal. And I just gave you breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days.
Yep.
I know I did it. I also did a science experiment with my water, but we'll talk about that.
That's
awesome.
I appreciate that. It's true.
But that's how I like that. That's how I step into things. It's like you. A lot of people don't want to know; they want to be told,
Right.
which is
Of
fair.
course.
You
We're
know.
all
So,
busy.
Yeah.
what would you tell that person that is afraid, who is thinking, you know, I want to get away from meat, and I want to just go from vegetarian to vegan. Or I just want to go. I don't encourage anybody to go cold turkey on anything.
Me either. Honestly, no.
Anything. The body is, we're not built for that. We're built for the long haul. We're not built for the microwave.
That's with anything. Fitness, you
Yes.
know, getting into a new job.
Learning
it's not
Spanish.
possible. Yeah.
34 days in.
Right.
Shout out 34 days in.
Nice.
So excited about that. But anyway, so how do we get those people to feel that transition, and then at least have a real opinion on, no, that's not for me, or no, this sucks, or that was great, instead of hearing and flying by what they hear.
Yeah, easy swaps. I think just taking whatever, like lay out the foods that you love, like ice cream.
Nobody's ever said that.
You know, lay out the foods you love. What do you really like? My thing was ice cream. I held on to that for dear life. I'm like, not the Bluebell. Cookies and cream.
I love ice cream.
Yeah, Bluebell cookies and cream was like.
I stopped eating Bluebell when they started killing people. But
I know it's messed up. And then I went, you know, Ben and Jerry's really amazing. They have fun flavors. But anyway, so I found my things. Like for me, it was I really like salmon. I really like salmon. I liked eating fish, and crab was awesome. And like literally I laid out these things like, okay, I can't get rid of these. I love them. They're so great. And I wasn't having ice cream every day, obviously.
Right.
But it's like, those are my little indulgences.
Right,
like, okay, let's put these in a little container over here. Let's put this in the compartmentalize. What are the things I can reasonably give up? A lot of people are like, but cheese. I'm like, okay, don't give up cheese then. No one's telling you to give up cheese.
Right.
What can you feasibly get rid of? For me, I didn't drink a lot of milk. I actually thought milk was really gross. Like I would have it with cereal, but I would never drink a glass. I was like,
no,
gross.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'll have some for my cereal because you have to. But other than that, I didn't really drink
Unless
it.
you, unless you pop some fried.
I mean, you
You better
know,
put the water on it.
Right.
get creative.
Oh, right.
But there's ways. Yeah, so it's like, think about the things you can reasonably part with, or at least try an alternative, like almond milk instead of dairy milk or oat milk or something. Or then look at the other things you could switch out. Like, okay, I'm willing to try tofu. I'm willing to try a meat alternative, like vegan chicken. Like they have them in little microwavable bags, or you know, keep them in your freezer. Just kind of see the things that you're willing to swap. I'm not saying get rid of, just swap. Just try it again for a month or however long, and then don't give up the big things that you love, because that's with anything too. Like even if you're on a diet, I feel like a lot of people go into it thinking I have to give up all sweets
That's
forever.
what I was saying. Yeah,
No.
it's that transition.
Right.
This has been. We got to get ready to wrap it up. This has been tremendous. We are here with Miss Courtney Garza, the editor-in-chief of Veg World. Grace, do we have any more questions before we got to go?
Not really questions. Well, I have
Any
questions.
okay.
But
Nice.
Sam gave his reason why he's a vegan.
Cool.
He said he was raised a hunter. We had a farm. I raised and butchered chickens, pigs, and cows. I was a proud fisherman, which was the last thing I gave up.
Yep.
I've been vegan for over 3 years. I'm healthier, more connected with all living things. My endurance as an athlete is far better. I started out eating vegan and transitioned to a vegan lifestyle because I found a love for all living organisms. My entire family has benefited from this change, and we have learned to value all life.
Wow.
And I love food far more now than when I ate
Yeah.
meat and potatoes.
Shout out to Sam Davis. Sam is a tremendous friend of mine. He is him and his wife, owners of the Wicked Wine Run, and now the virtual race series,
Cool.
Wine Run race series. A tremendous human being. I'm glad he chimed in on that. Miss P,
Yes.
what are your final words?
Well, I have to say this. You have put a new perspective on vegan life for me. As far as, because it's always been, it's like church, you know, shoved down my throat, and
Of course.
you gotta do this, or give it up cold turkey, and you're gonna die, and that's why you're unhealthy, you know. But it's the way you present it. It's as if, you know, it's my choice.
It's an opportunity to open your mind.
Yeah, my choice.
Always
And I
your
give it
choice.
up gradually as I need to,
Of course.
and as I'm able to, you know. So I appreciate that, and I'm interested in it. I'm definitely subscribing.
Please,
I'm
yes,
definitely-
absolutely.
yes.
It's all free. It's
Yeah.
a free resource. We
Wow.
don't want to hinder
Yeah.
anyone from being able to have this content, because
Yeah.
I might be a little lofty here, but I just want to change the world.
Yeah.
I just
So-
want people to be healthy and happy and save all the creatures.
Well, there you. I
It's
was
not
gonna
too
say.
much to
So,
ask.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, how you want to feel? What would you like to tell the people? And you just told them. You just want
I just
to
want
be
to
kind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been tremendous. I've learned so much. I gotta have you back, so you can't
Good.
tell me no. We're gonna get a little bit deeper into it. I guess she has a few more animals that she needs to say. And in conclusion, what I've learned from this is that we all have our own way of going about things, but let's make it our way and have an open mind to another way so we can become better people to all living organisms, because they all matter, and especially if you give them a name, that means they matter to you. You guys have been tremendous. I appreciate the time. I know Kenny's gonna be real happy about this one. Thank you, Courtney, for coming out and hanging out with
Thank
us
you.
today.
Yeah.
You guys follow Courtney where?
Veg World Magazine or Color Me Courtney _.
Color Me Courtney _. She's everywhere, and there's 10,000 people plus me following her. We'll see you guys next Monday. Have a tremendous evening.